that down, let's talk about this, shall we? You know, there's a little movie from Francis Ford Coppola coming called Megalopolis, and we've not been hearing great things about it, but it just got screened. So what are we hearing right now, Jonathan?
Well, the new Francis Ford Coppola film, Megalopolis, screened for its first public audience at Cannes yesterday, and the reviews are wildly all over the place, from a utter mess to ill-conceived to a dedication to cinema. Although I feel like a dedication to cinema is just them being nice. John, what did you make of the reviews for Megalopolis?
They're pretty much exactly what I expected, to be honest. You know, we heard they did a screening for it for potential distributors a while back, and the word was not good. The word was it's not good. These are the distributors, the people who, you know film probably as good as or better than anybody else, and knowing what audiences will want to respond. And a lot of them just said it was problematic. Well, now the reviews have come out because it's screened publicly, and I think last I checked, it's at 45%, which frankly is better than I thought it might be. But even the people who are saying they like it are saying things like, and we'll get to some of these, is like, yeah, this is a batshit crazy, all over the place, completely unfocused mess. But man, is Coppola dedicated to his own vision. I mean, and that's the positive review. Anyway, let's go over and take a look at some of the reviews that are coming out of the Cannes Film Festival, shall we? One of the top critics from Financial Times writes, perhaps the kindest thing one can say about Megalopolis is that it will probably remain largely unwatched and be quickly forgotten. Another top critic at the Irish Times writes, seconds, minutes, hours, and it seems anyway, days assert their presence unforgivingly as the film staggers its way to nowhere worth going. If you don't enjoy the first 5 minutes, then gird your loins. It's like that all the way through.
It's like he's crossing the Sahara.
Now, another top critic over at Inverse gave it a positive review. Sort of. It said, a bunch of ideas smashed together into a garish, baffling, dazzling, kind of atrocious and totally audacious rejection of the cinematic form. It should never have been made. And yet, now that it has, we should be so grateful that it exists. I'm very confused by that.
Yeah.
It should have never been made, but I'm glad that it did. And they liked it. Okay. Top critic over the Daily Beast wrote, Megalopolis is a stilted, earnest, over-the-top, CGI-ridden, and utterly a mess. And yet you can picture a crowded theater shouting along with Jon Voight as he says in one key scene, what do you make of this boner I got? Is that the new sound clip for your soundboard, Jonathan? What do you
Working on that one right now.
What do you make of the boner I got?
If I had a nickel for every time.
Another top critic from the Times writes, this is 138 stultifying minutes of ill-conceived themes, half-finished scenes, nails along the blackboard performances, word salad, dialogue, and ugly visuals, all seemingly in search of a story that isn't there. Screen International, another top critic, writes, Megalopolis is stymied by an arbitrary, plotting, and numbing excess. One can feel Coppola's anger and sorrow over the decline of his beloved America, but narrative coherence is far less apparent. Donald Rooney from The Hollywood Reporter, top critic, writes, I can't say I always engaged over its 2 hours plus runtime, but I was always curious about where it was going next. Is it a good movie? Not by a long stretch. But it's not one that can be easily dismissed either. And then the Los Angeles Times critic Joshua Rothkopf writes, once you let go of the understandable dream of Coppola returning with another masterpiece, there is so much to enjoy in Megalopolis, especially its cast members leaning into their moments with an abandon that was probably a job requirement. So kind of what these reviews are basically right along the lines of what we heard from the distributor screening a couple of weeks back when the distributors watched it, and where the word really first started going around, there's not going to be a distributor that picks this up. And I'm not surprised at all, unfortunately, by what we're reading. Now, the one thing that Megalopolis has going for it is that the other day, the CEO of IMAX said that they're going to be committed to screening Megalopolis in IMAX in at least a limited capacity. Now, personally, I think that was just a favor they were doing to Francis Ford Coppola to try to make the movie look more attractive to distributors, because that's what they're doing at Cannes. They're trying to get a distributor. And by tagging on to Megalopolis now, hey, IMAX is already making a commitment that they'll at least screen it, at least limited. And maybe that becomes more appealing to an exhibitor and a distributor. But I don't know. It sounds like this thing is destined to be dumped on streaming somewhere. Anyway, and I haven't seen it. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I haven't seen it.
Could be number one on Netflix.
It could be number one on Netflix. I mean, listen, I've been very excited about it. It's Francis Ford Coppola. It's the master. It's the guy who gave us The Godfathers. Come on. But I mean, it kind of sounds like it is what it is. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Cuts Clothing. Let's be real. Most guys would wear a t-shirt every day of their lives if we could. The problem is that most t-shirts are not acceptable to wear at work or out on a hot date. Today's sponsor, Cuts, has finally changed that. Cuts t-shirts are such high quality, wrinkle-free, and so buttery soft that you can look like you're dressing up even when you're dressing down. Yeah, you heard that right. They are wrinkle-free. And for a limited time, you can save money while redefining the dress code by heading to cutsclothing.com and use the code Campea for 20% off. Guys, you know me, when it comes to clothing, my number one priority is comfort, and I could not believe just how comfortable my Cuts shirt was. It was light, it breathed, it felt like $1,000,000, and it made me feel like I looked like $1,000,000 too. And the best part? Cuts Clothing is built to last. Their durable construction means you'll be enjoying your favorite shirts and pants for years to come, making them a smart investment for your wardrobe. So guys, for a limited time, our listeners get 20% off your entire order when you use the code Campea at checkout. That's 20% off your order at cutsclothing.com with the promo code Campea. Please support our show by telling them that the John Campea Show sent you. Experience the perfect blend of style and comfort with Cuts Clothing. Anyway, Chris, you're reading about this. What have you been hearing? What do you think of the reviews? Where's your anticipation level for it? What do you think?
Ooh, I mean, is it weird that these reviews make me more excited? I really love that everyone's like, it's trash, but kind of fun. It makes me really want to watch it. I've just heard over and over again how this is a very bonkers film and how it's all over the place with Coppola wanting to say a lot about a lot of different things. So I'm interested to see it. And again, I like when a director stretches and goes outside their usual wheelhouse and their usual comfort zone. Having him dive into sci-fi and do this grand big epic that he funded himself has had me intrigued from the beginning. Now, does that mean this is going to be a good movie? No, it does not. But I'm still absolutely going to see it. I'm interested to know why people are so divided on it. I guess that's my big thing. Same with If, right? I want to watch this so I can see empathetically why somebody else would go, this is so not for me and this is so bad, and why other people would go, oh my gosh, this is one of the greatest things I've ever seen.
To be fair, I'm not hearing a lot of them saying it's one of the greatest things they've ever seen.
That's going to be mostly the Coppola sweeties. But I love how many people in the chat here are saying they're definitely seeing this in IMAX now that they've heard these horrible reviews.
If they can.
I personally don't think it's going to play in IMAX. I don't think they're going to get a distributor. I mean, I don't know, which kind of sucks because there's a romanticism about the idea of the man, Francis Ford Coppola, coming out self-financing his personal swan song. And you want this thing to be audacious and you want it to be great. But I think what really concerns me is how many critics that I know that want a Coppola film to be big and audacious and bonkers. And they want it to be that. And yet they saw this movie and hated it. And that worries me. But I don't know. Maybe this is going to be like an If. Maybe I go in and see this, although If has better critic score than this one did. Yeah. Maybe this is one of those films I go in and watch, I come out and I go, I don't get why people didn't love this. Maybe either you guys at all, but let's be honest, are either of you guys at all interested in this movie?
Yes.
You are?
I am, for sure. It's just,
now,
I'm kind of like on board with Chris.
Is it because of Coppola? Because I admit, for me, that's 95% of why I'm interested in is Coppola.
It's I guess not just Coppola, but the fact that he sold his winery. This is it's like you said, his swan song, what he put into it, but also because it does sound like something that you really have to absorb in. And I don't think it. Maybe I'm giving it more credit than it's due. Maybe it's like one of those films you have to watch a couple or 3 times to absorb it all, or maybe it just is a mess.
Yeah.
But I kind of want to make that choice for myself, you know? This isn't like a Madam Web where I know, like, I don't need to go see that. I know that's going to be awful and campy and just whatever.
Yeah.
But this feels like
Cinema.
maybe I'll try to learn something from it. I don't
Yeah.
know. Like, it could be cool. Maybe it won't be. So I am interested. I'm going to see it if it gets released.
Yeah, well, I mean, it'll be available somewhere, and I'm definitely going to watch
I
it.
have to go
But
to France.
here's the other interesting angle to this.
Yeah.
Now, some of you may not know this, but just recently, Adam Driver fired his management and he's signed on with new agents. Because I honestly think Adam Driver is one of the finest actors out there, but he has been in nothing that has hit. Take a look at this.
Although
So-
Ferrari was a good performance.
And yeah, but what did it do?
Nothing.
It did nothing. So he's got Megalopolis, which apparently no one's going to see. Ferrari, which nobody saw. 65, which I actually had kind of
Yeah.
fun with, but nobody saw it. Squarespace, The Singularity. I don't know anything
What?
about that.
Huh.
White Noise,
It's a short.
which
That was a
nobody
short.
saw. House of Gucci, which not a lot of people saw. The Last Duel, which not a lot of people saw. And now you're getting back into 2021 territory with Star Wars or 2019. Marriage Story was awesome. Stuff like that. But it's like, he's like one of the finest actors who can't get into anything good.
Well, Marriage
apparently.
Story should have launched excellence. He's so good in that. He's
Oh,
so
he
wonderful
could have
in
won
that.
the Oscar for that.
Absolutely.
He could have won it.
And you would think after that film, it would have been he has his pick of roles, and maybe he did, and maybe that's why the team is going the way of the dodo here. But it's so odd to see that kind of trajectory, or I guess lack thereof, happen after such an excellent performance.
Was he in that movie? Because I guess you'd have to scroll down, but where they play like FBI agents and they're infiltrating the Ku Klux Klan?
Yes.
Yes.
Black Klansman.
Yep.
Black Klansman, yeah.
He's
That was
incredible
great.
in that too.
Yeah.
That's such a good
Yep,
movie.
2018.
There you go, yeah.
Great, by the way.
He's really good in Gucci.
Paul Walter Hauser was in that.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Of
Yeah.
course he was.
That's Paul Walter Hauser. We just live in his world. We just didn't
He
realize
needs
it.
Paul Walter Hauser's team.
Yeah.
That's who he needs
Listen,
to be working with. They're doing
He
great with
was
him.
great in The Report. He was great in Marriage Story. He was great in Black Klansman. He was great in Ferrari. He was great in House of Gucci. It's just that like he's coming along and giving great performances and things and movies that aren't going anywhere. And so I really hope that with new management that maybe he can start getting in there because he deserves to have a higher profile. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? The reviews are coming out for Megalopolis, and they are completely all over the place, mostly skewing negative. Do you think it'll actually pick up a major distributor? I'm guessing it won't, but who knows? I'm excited to see it just because it's Francis Ford Coppola. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.